Good afternoon. My name is Colette Simeon, and this is the News to My Knowledge. So, the News to My Knowledge is a little blog where I present facts and I talk to you about the facts. I am capable of putting together some cute B-roll with some adorable music, like some lo-fi hip-hop to chill or study to, and I might get my shit together to do that. I just haven't had time, and I didn't know if this would be a regular thing, but I find it very cathartic. So let's get into some news. NASA presented its budget for Mars exploration due to the fact that now we've promised trillions of dollars to other things that are more important. We might have to relook that. Curiosity, our Mars rover, took a selfie today. The Orion spacecraft passed its heat test recently and put it ahead of time for that project. We have 23 primaries left in the United States as people are campaigning for the presidential election of 2020. 10 of those have been postponed. The most lit Olympics that we would have ever seen, the Tokyo Olympics, has been postponed. I don't know about you, but I really love the Olympics. It's one of my favorite things. When I was a little kid, I cried because the 1984 Olympics was over. But this, of course, was a time when there wasn't much stuff on TV. If the president talked, you were fucked, and there were only 7 stations. So I understand. It's disappointing. I like to pretend that the opening ceremony is a presentation that we would give to an alien race if it encountered Earth. Now, I'm not saying this is true. Obviously, we haven't met aliens, or if the History Channel tells us we met some aliens and they did some shit and then they bounced. I also pretend like whoever wins the Olympics becomes the world police, as the USA usually gets the most number of medals. I usually make them win the Olympics, but I'm always open. I comment about it when I read the paper. Anyone I date knows that this is a running joke with me, and I have horrified a couple of people because they thought I thought that this was real, even though it was completely imaginary. Tidal power. So scientists are looking to harness the movement of the oceans and the deep sea as a source of electricity. This would be a better alternative to offshore rigging. So I hope they go through with it. But as you know, we are still dependent on fossil fuels for reasons that no one has completely explained to us. It's, really strange, as we found these other sources of power that don't kill adorable animals or people. I mean, isn't that how mesothelioma is made? I don't know. Anyways, it sucks that we still use them. If you are just a normal person, I do understand that cutting down your carbon footprint won't do much for the environment, as it's 10 huge companies that are polluting everything. But you might want to look into doing your part, just because as you can see, due to recent events, we're all in this together. I'm about to tell you some crazy COVID virus numbers. Everybody has finally agreed on that stimulus budget that was bandied about Congress and Senate. It is $2 trillion, so lower than the $6 million that they were talking about the other day. It is a one-time payment for every American, and it's going to be $1,200 per grown-up, which, it ain't shit, but what are you going to say? And $500 per child. I do understand that there are a lot of people in a bad situation due to many different factors, and I get why people are cash apping each other. I'm not looking so great, but I'm not down and out enough that I would take resources from someone else, because there are parents who are trying to feed their children. There are people who are dealing with death. The numbers are so high now that it's starting to creep in people's social circle, and I feel like it's starting to hit home. Spain has been the fastest country growing with the coronavirus. They're at 3,433 cases recently, and the total for the country is 47,600. That number is huge. Bear with me. I actually have notes because I actually wanted to present facts like a real person. So please excuse this. And yes, I could edit this, but also I don't know. I have motivation for certain things, but this is not one of them. So your total for COVID infected in the United States is 435,000. That's huge. That's like a medium-sized city. 19,600 have died already. So that's the size of a small town. Like, it would be a town that had a Walmart. 500,000. So I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic and I'm not going to repeat this over and over again just because my brain wants to be a dick. 1,100 and 500,000 people have recovered from the virus. Leela is going to give us a cameo in a minute because she sucks. Prince Charles has tested positive, so he's infected. The Dow has gone up 2,000 points in anticipation for this stimulus process. And our most remote Commonwealth, Guam, has 32 cases. The city of Tokyo has 212 cases. There is an ICU bed shortage in Atlanta, which is a huge hub for a lot of airlines. Plus, it is where most of the Turner networks are based. So you have people from CNN and various news sources passing in and out. You also have to think about people who have layovers and people who have been using that smoking room in Hatfield Airport. Anyone who has left New York City recently has to quarantine for 14 days, according to the CDC. That's a lot of people. And bear with me. Yeah, I made notes. I could edit this. Sure. $212 New York City policemen have been affected. 117 of those people are actually uniformed officers. The country has 59,966 cases. Of those 59,966 cases, 58,795 are active. So these are people who are actively infected and are getting better, and hospitals are at home. California has 2,600 infected with 55 deaths. Florida has 16,000. I hate being dyslexic and fuck you. Florida has 1,662 infected and 22 deaths. Louisiana has 538 infected with 48 deaths. New York City has 30,811 infected with 271 deaths. And I'm going to do the DMV. So Maryland has 423 infected with 4 deaths. Virginia, the state I live in, has 290 infected with 7 deaths, and DC proper has 183 infected with 2 deaths. Again, I'm asking for everybody to use some compassion and some human kindness towards others. Share things if you can. Practice social distancing. Talk to your friends remotely. Entertain yourself. If you're feeling anxious or scared or suicidal, it is imperative that you contact the suicide hotline or telehelp, any kind of telehelp. If you call 311 and go through Ask a Nurse, you can actually FaceTime a doctor if you try hard enough. Everybody, how is everyone doing? I know that a lot of people are having anxiety about childcare costs and having to have their children at home, plus having to work at home. I know a lot of people are going through stressors trying to be able to hand their children off to the other parent because they're co-parenting. I know people who are living weirdly enough, like so bad that they probably need to use a Ouija board to contact their baby daddy because that dude is gone ghost. It's a hard time. I know that a lot of us are going to get through it because not many people die from this virus, but as they have been saying, that even though the severity has been ticking down, that it's not as many hospitalizations as the rate of infections, it is something that is hard to get over. I have a friend who just recently got over the virus, and she still has a shortness of breath and problems breathing and climbing upstairs, and she was sick from 3 weeks ago. This is a rough time, but I'm going to give you some suggestions. One, go and get some vitamin D3 and start taking it. Because you're inside all the time, you're not going to have access to sunlight and get vitamin D. Two, you need to stop taking ibuprofen as something for pain or headaches, fever. You need to switch over to Tylenol, because if you do get infected, it causes the virus to be a little bit more severe. If you're on a low dose of steroids and it's something that you can get by without, I would suggest you also talk to your doctor about possibly discontinuing it, or talk to them about how you would manage it, because also if you get infected and you're on steroids, it seems to be something that makes the virus, be a bit more aggressive and lead to hospitalization. I know that they were saying that this is a virus that affects mostly people who are older, but a lot of young people have been starting to get infected, and healthy people have been hospitalized for this. This is not something to play around with. It's highly contagious, more contagious than the flu. The virus itself is more severe than the flu, but you also need to not freak out if you are prone to allergies and have a tickle in your throat, because the trees are still very much having sex with each other. If you have any questions or anything, please hit me up at Kosami on Twitter, and have a great one. Bye.